Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be looking at all 59 possibly removed superstars from WWE 2K22 and the reasons why. So, without any further ado, let's get right into the video. Our first removed superstar is Akam. Akam was released from his contract on September 4th, 2020. His last appearance for the WWE was on the April 1st edition of Main Event. Up next, we have Aleister Black. Black was released from his contract on June 2nd, 2021, and due to a mistake in his contract, Black was able to sign with and debut for the AEW promotion, only a month after being released. His last appearance for the WWE was on the May 21st episode of SmackDown. Next up is Alicia Fox, who was quietly moved to the alumni section on October 17th, 2019. Her last appearance for the WWE was on stage alongside the rest of the active roster at the opening of WrestleMania 37. Next up is Andrade. Andrade requested and was granted his release on March 21st, 2021. He is now signed to the AEW promotion where he performs under the name Andrade El Idolo. His last appearance for the WWE was on the October 12th episode of Raw, in which him and Zelina Vega were attacked by The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Up next we have Araya Daivari. Araya was released on June 25th, 2021, with the reason being budget cuts. His last appearance was as a part of the 205 Live brand. Up next is Becky Lynch. Lynch has not been a part of WWE TV in over a year since announcing her pregnancy. I'm just kidding, there's no way they're gonna remove the most over female talent in WWE history. Up next is The Big Show. Big Show did not sign a new deal with the company due to not being able to come to an agreement over pay. Show also listed creative frustrations as one of the reasons he did not re-sign. And as of February 24, 2021, Big Show, now known as Paul White, has signed to WWE's biggest competitor in the States, AEW. His last appearance for the WWE was on Legends Night, which took place on January 4th, 2021. Next up is Billie Kay. Kay was released from her contract on April 15, 2021. Her last appearance on WWE was on Night 1 of WrestleMania 37, in which she teamed with Carmella in the Tag Team Turmoil match. Up next is Bo Dallas. Dallas was released from the WWE on April 15, 2021, after over a year of not being on TV. His last appearance on TV was of him winning the 24/7 championship and then immediately losing it back to Drake Maverick on the September 3rd, 2019 episode of SmackDown. Next up is the monster among men, Braun Strowman. Strowman was released from his contract on June 2nd, 2021, with the most likely reason for his release being due to a new contract he had just signed for $1.2 million a year that was not including royalties from video games or merch sales or any other revenue. However, there have been rumors that WWE wants to bring Strowman back, so there's still a chance he still makes the cut, but if he doesn't, his last appearance for the WWE would be in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania Backlash. Next up is Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret no longer seems to be under a WWE contract. He has since appeared for both the AEW promotion and the Impact Wrestling promotion. Therefore, I really doubt that he will be brought back in the next installment of the 2K series. Up next is another shocking one, Brock Lesnar. Lesnar has been off of TV since dropping the title to Drew McIntyre at the PC WrestleMania. And recently rumors have emerged that Brock is signed with another company which is believed not to be AEW nor the WWE. There is still time to remove Lesnar from the game, and if these rumors have any truth to them, I don't think we'll be seeing the Beast incarnate in WWE 2K22. Next up is Buddy Murphy. Murphy was released from his contract on June 2nd, 2021. His last appearance for the WWE was on the April 9th, 2021 edition of SmackDown, in which he was a part of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Up next is Christian. After a surprise return at the 2021 Royal Rumble, Christian and the WWE failed to come to an agreement on a new deal. Christian instead opted to sign with and debut for AEW on March 7th, 2021. Therefore, Christian will not be in 2K22. Next up is Curt Hawkins. Hawkins was released from his contract on April 15, 2020, with the reason being revealed by the WWE as budget cuts. Since then, he has become a member of the Impact Wrestling roster, with his last appearance in the WWE being the night after losing the Tag Team Championships to the Viking Raiders at Elimination Chamber. Up next is Curtis Axel. Axel was released on April 30th, 2020, with the reason also being budget cuts due to the COVID-19 pandemic. His last appearance on WWE TV was in a losing effort to Daniel Bryan on the February 28th edition of SmackDown. And speaking of Daniel Bryan, he's next on our list. 2K was told by WWE officials to not include Daniel Bryan in the next installment of the series. The reason being that WWE believed the rumors of him signing with AEW were indeed true, but that has yet to be seen. Bryan's last appearance for the WWE was in a triple threat match for the Universal Championship at this year's WrestleMania. Next up, we have Dash Wilder. After requesting his release multiple times, he was finally granted it on April 10th, 2020. Wilder, now going by the name Cash Wheeler, is signed to the AEW promotion. Wilder's last appearance for the WWE was as a part of the SmackDown brand. Up next is EC3. He was released from his contract on April 15, 2020, with the reason again being budget cuts. He is now signed to the Ring of Honor promotion. EC3's last appearance for the WWE was on an October 3rd, 2019 edition of Main Event, in which him and partner Eric Young lost to the Lucha House Party. Next on the list is Eric Young. Young was released from his contract on April 15, 2020. Young has since returned to Impact Wrestling, where he's the leader of the faction Violent by Design. His last appearances for the WWE were on Main Event and Raw. Next up, we have Fandango. Fandango was released from his contract on June 25, 2021. His last appearance for the WWE was just a week prior on the June 15th episode of NXT. And up next, we have Luke Harper. Harper was released from his contract on December 8, 2019. Harper's last appearance with the WWE was at the Crown Jewel event in a losing effort as part of the multi-man battle royal. Harper, who became better known to fans as Brody Lee in the AEW promotion, has since tragically passed away. Rest in peace, Brody. We all miss you. Next up is Heath Slater. Slater was released from his contract on April 20th, 2020. He is currently a member of the Impact Wrestling roster. His last appearance in the WWE was after his release. While still under his 90-day no-compete clause, Slater made a surprise return on the Raw brand and challenged former 3MB bandmate Drew McIntyre in a losing effort. Next up, we have Jack Gallagher. Gallagher was released from his contract on June 19, 2020 due to multiple allegations of sexual assault stemming from 2014, which all came to light as part of the Speaking Out movement, which took place the same day of his release. Up next, we have the legend Jake the Snake Roberts. Roberts is currently signed to the AEW promotion, playing the role of Lance Archer's manager, and therefore he will not be included in 2K22. Next up, we have Kyrie Sane. Kyrie took to Twitter to announce that she had departed the WWE after suffering multiple injuries, and that she would be moving back to Japan with her husband. While no longer an active competitor, Kyrie is still working under the WWE umbrella as an ambassador and trainer for WWE's Japan branch, so she still might make the cut. Next up, we have Kalisto. Kalisto was released from his contract on April 15, 2021. His last appearance was on the April 9th edition of SmackDown, in which he competed in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Next, we have Carl Anderson. Anderson was released from his contract on April 15, 2020 due to budget cuts from the COVID-19 pandemic. He is currently signed to Impact Wrestling and regularly appears on AEW TV as a part of the Elite. Anderson's last appearance for the WWE was in the Boneyard match at WrestleMania. Next up is Cassius Ohno. Ohno was also released from his contract on April 15, 2020. Ohno is now going by his indie name Chris Hero, and his last appearance for the WWE was as a part of the NXT UK brand. Next up, we have Kurt Angle. Angle was released from his contract on April 15, 2020. A former multi-time WWE champion, Kurt is now a retired WWE Hall of Famer, with his last match being against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 35. Up next is Lana. Lana was released from her contract on June 2, 2021. Lana's last appearance with the WWE was in a tag team match alongside her partner Naomi on an episode of Raw in a losing effort against the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Next on the list is Lars Sullivan. Sullivan was released from his contract in January of 2021. His last appearance for the WWE was on the October 23rd episode of SmackDown, in which he defeated Chad Gable. Next is Luke Gallows. Gallows was released from his contract on April 15th, 2020. He is currently signed to Impact Wrestling and regularly appears on AEW TV as part of the Elite. His last appearance for the WWE was in the Boneyard match at WrestleMania 36. Next on the list is Maria Canellis. Canellis was released from her contract on April 15, 2020. She is currently signed to Ring of Honor, and her last appearance in the WWE consisted of her winning the 24/7 championship while being pregnant. making her the first pregnant champion in WWE history. Up next is the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Henry was unable to come to terms on a new contract with the WWE. He is currently signed to the AEW promotion as a coach. His last appearance for the WWE was on the January 4th episode of Raw. Next, we have Matt Hardy. Hardy let his contract with the WWE expire. He is now signed to the AEW promotion. His last appearance for the WWE was on a February 2020 episode of Raw. Next on the list is Mickie James. James was released from her contract on April 15, 2021. She has since appeared for the NWA promotion, and her last appearance with the WWE was at this year's WrestleMania. Next is Mike Canellis. Canellis was released from his contract the same day as his wife on April 15, 2020. He is currently signed to the Ring of Honor promotion, and his last appearance for the WWE was as part of the 205 Live brand. Up next is Mojo Raleigh. Raleigh was released from his contract on April 15, 2021. Raleigh's last appearance for the WWE was on the June 19th episode of SmackDown in a losing effort to Chad Gable. Next on the list is No Way Jose. He was released from his contract on April 15, 2020. He has since made his return to wrestling in Impact Wrestling, in which he performs under the name No Way. His last WWE appearance was 2 days before his release on April 13th in a losing effort against Bobby Lashley. Next on the list is Payton Royce. Royce was released from her contract on April 15, 2021. Her last appearance for the WWE was on the March 22, 2021 episode of Raw, in which she faced then-current Raw Women's Champion Asuka in a losing effort. Next is the other half of AOP, Razor. Razor was released from his contract the same day as his tag team partner on September 4, 2020. His last appearance for the WWE was being one of the disciples in Seth Rollins' faction. Up next is Ronda Rousey. Rousey has not been seen on WWE TV since losing the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 35. She has since revealed that she did not enjoy the WWE's travel schedule and has announced that she is pregnant with her husband and former UFC fighter Travis Browne. With that being said, I don't think we'll be seeing Ronda back on TV for a while, nor in 2K22. Next on the list is Rowan. Rowan was released from his contract on April 15, 2020. He has since appeared for both the AEW and WWE promotion as part of tributes to the late great Brody Lee. His last appearance on WWE TV was in a match against Drew McIntyre. Up next is Ruby Riot. Riot was released from her contract on June 2, 2021. Since then, Riot has revealed that she is ditching her former indie name of Heidi Lovelace and is now going by Ruby Soho. Her last appearance for the WWE was on the SmackDown brand. Next on the list is Samir Singh. Singh was released from his contract on June 25, 2021. His last appearance for the WWE was on the 205 Live brand as a part of the tag team with his brother known as the Bollywood Boys. Up next is Sarah Logan. Logan was released from her contract on April 15, 2020. About 2 months later, Logan announced that she was taking time off from the wrestling business. Not too long after that, she and husband Eric of the Viking Raiders announced that they were having a baby. Her last appearance for the WWE was 2 days prior to her release in a losing effort to Shayna Baszler on an episode of Raw. Next on the list is Scott Dawson. After multiple requests to be released were denied, WWE finally granted Scott Dawson his release on April 10, 2020. Dawson has since signed with the AEW promotion under the name Dax Harwood. His last appearance for the WWE was on the SmackDown brand. Up next is Singkara. Singkara requested and was granted his release on December 8, 2019. Singkara's last appearance for the WWE was in a match on the November 11th episode of Raw, in which he was defeated by Drew McIntyre. Next up on the list is Sting. Sting let his Legends contract expire with the WWE in May of 2020. Sting has since signed and debuted for the AEW promotion. His last appearance for the WWE was during the Ric Flair 70th birthday celebration. Next on the list is the other half of the Bollywood Boys, Sunil Singh. Singh was released from his WWE contract on June 25, 2021. His last appearance was on the 205 Live brand. Next up is Tony Nese. Nese was released from his contract on June 25, 2021. He was last seen on WWE TV as part of the 205 Live brand. Next on the list is Tucker. Tucker was released from his contract on April 15, 2021, his last appearance for the WWE was being a part of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which took place on the April 9th episode of SmackDown. Next on the list is Tyler Breeze. Breeze was released from his contract on June 25th, 2021. Breeze's last appearance with the WWE was a week prior to his release on the NXT brand. Up next is Velveteen Dream. Dream was released from his contract on May 20th, 2021. Prior to his release, Dream was accused of sending indecent photos and messages to underage minors. He has since been announced for an indie show in which he was removed from just 2 hours after being announced due to fan backlash. His last appearance in the WWE was in a losing effort against Adam Cole on the NXT brand. Next up on the list is Zack Ryder. Ryder was released from his contract on April 15th, 2020. Ryder has since signed with the Impact Wrestling promotion, where he performs under the name Matt Cardona. Ryder's last appearance in the WWE was alongside his tag team partner Curt Hawkins in a losing effort to Bobby Lashley. And last but not least, Zelina Vega. Vega was released from her contract on November 13th, 2020, but she has since returned to the WWE on the July 2nd episode of SmackDown. However, due to her release date being almost 9 months ago, she may have already been removed from the upcoming game. But with her returning, there's still a chance she'll make the cut. So that's the entire list of superstars I believe will be removed from 2K22. However, I do have a couple of things to add. Some of these superstars may still be included due to being an integral part of story mode or career mode and having already voiced over their characters. With that out of the way, I have 2 questions for you guys. 1, who do you think will be this year's pre-order bonus? And 2, who do you think will be on the cover of 2K22? Leave your answers in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please support the channel by leaving it a like. And if you're new to my channel, then please consider subscribing. So until next time, I've been Cuz, you've been you, and I'll catch you later.